How's it going? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at 5 different cards from the Scarlet and Violet era, and some of these cards have actually dropped dramatically. Like this Houndour, it's dropped about $20 in the past month, which is pretty crazy for this Houndour from Obsidian Flames. So yeah, we're going to look at 5 different cards today, and let's go ahead and start off with the Zapdos EX. And this past month, you could see that earlier, last month actually in February, it was a $65 card, managed to get up to $71, and now has dropped to $61. So $10 drop since the beginning of March, which is pretty abrupt. But another good thing about this card is the liquidity of this card. It's a very popular legendary Pokemon along with the other birds, the Articuno down here and the Moltres. But look at the volume. You're having about 15 to 30 copies of this card being sold. And we could look at the growth over time in the past year. This set, Pokemon 151, right, is about 2 years old. And look at the price growth for this card in the last year. Last year, in around June, it was $36. 61 copies sold for $36. And even when it hit $70 right here, 80 copies of this card were sold. And so a lot of collectors really like Pokemon 151. It's a big reason why people are back in the hobby right now. And yeah, a $9 drop in the past month, that's pretty significant. And it might be a great opportunity to pick up this card. And even if you've had this card and held it for the past 3 months, you're still up from about $60, or I guess you're not up from January. It's still about a $61 card, so it's been a little volatile. So yeah, it really depends on when you picked up this card. Maybe 6 months ago it was $45. I think that's around the time that I sold my only copy, but it wasn't gradable, so I was like, let's just sell this card. It was really sick though, I do admit. Next, we have this Houndour illustration rare from Obsidian Flames, and surprisingly, look at the 3-month chart data right here. The liquidity is pretty good at 20 to about 100 copies of this card being sold. Now, whether that's people collecting the card, maybe vendors buying this card because they want to vend it at a trade show. I just recently was a card vendor for the first time in the city that I live in, and it was honestly one of the funnest experiences ever. I've mounted a bunch of sealed product and a bunch of singles, and the singles were gone literally almost in day one. I had to go through my collection and find out what else I could possibly sell. But anyways, that was a really fun experience. But let's get back to this card. I got one of these Houndours, and if you could see right here, this jump in February, it went from January from being a $5 card to now a $33 card at the end of February. And since February, even though 146 copies of this card were sold for $33, it's dropping quickly in the downward direction to $11. So that's a 39% drop. Again, you got to be wary when you're getting any card in Pokemon, right? Whether you're collecting or investing, if you're collecting, you want to pay any price you want, then that's all good. But if you're looking to invest, be careful when you're looking at cards that are really expensive and cards that have popped off, like this Houndour or the Drowsy illustration rare from Scarlet and Violet base. And so yeah, this card is again a really affordable card at $10. Personally, I think it's undervalued. I think it's an awesome artwork with the 4 puppies of the Houndour. But yeah, now it's a $10 card. Next, we have the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. You can see the 3-month chart right here. It literally shot up straight to the moon in price, hit $219 in early February, and now has dropped to $197. So it's about a $23, $24 drop. The liquidity is really great for this card. You have 5 to 25 copies being sold on average every few days, and people love this card in a PSA 10. I'm sure it's expensive. I actually have a video on PSA 10s for Paldean Fates and the card prices for the month of March. So check that out on the channel if you haven't seen the gem rates for Paldean Fates yet. I already did the calculations, and if you haven't looked at the card prices for PSA 10s from Paldean Fates, I made that video about 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it's $197. It's still up 21% in value for the past 3 months. Next, we have one of my favorite cards that I still haven't gotten. Luckily, I do have a ton of Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift was actually my first booster box case, and at the time, I thought I overpaid at around $640. But now it's past, I think, $900, maybe even $1,000 for that booster box case. But I still don't have the Groudon illustration rare. And I made a video recently on how I think it's still a really good investment over time because it's one of the coolest Groudons I think most of us have seen besides the Groudon Gold Star. And so the past 3 month data in December, it was about $65. January, it was going straight to the moon, $74, and then $108 in early February. Since February, though, it's kind of stayed at a relatively stable price point of around $104, $100, and now it's dropped to $97. So technically, it is down and trending in the downward direction from $105 down to about $100. So about a $5 loss in the past month. And we'll see if this card can stay at $100 or maybe it goes down to $80. It did jump up quickly from $71 to $100 now in just about 2 months. So we'll see if it goes back to 70 or stays around 90 to 100. So the Groudon is trending in the downward direction. And the last card we have on the list is the Mew EX, the Bubble Mew. People are calling it right. Look at this price projection right here. December, $265, jumped up to $405, $419 was the high for this card in February this year. And now it's trending in the downward direction from $419 down to $353. So that's about a $50 to $60 drop in the past 3 months, 11% in the past month from $400 down to $352. So $48 drop in 1 month. So, when it comes to investing or when it comes to collecting, you do want to get the best price that you're able to find. And if you have the available resources to afford the card, if you're looking to grade the card, make sure it's a 10 or at least a close 10. And yeah, so that's all the cards that I have today, you guys. We have the Mew EX, the Groudon, $97. The Mew EX down to $353. The Charizard is down to $197. The Houndour is down to $10. And the Zapdos is down to $61. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.